Hello, everybody, and welcome to Firebase After Hours number 14. Can you believe it? Number 14. When we started doing this, I had no idea that we would end up at a number like that. And we have no intention of stopping there. So welcome to the stream. We've got something really exciting for you today. But before we can get started, let's do the housekeeping. So I want to remind everybody to be nice to each other. We have a live stream going and a live chat, so you can use the live chat to communicate with us. We want you to send us your questions, so please send questions that you want us to answer, and we will take the ones that make sense in the context of this live stream, which will be about Firebase Studio. And if there are any other ones that we can also answer and which we think might be interesting for folks on the stream. But in this, in the interest of everybody, let's be polite. And if you hate something, then maybe not say it here, but say it into your pillow or into a bucket, and say the nice things to us, and be constructive. With that out of the way, oh, and I also see people are using the emojis, so please use the emojis if you like something. Press the heart emoji or the party popper. That's always great. All right, so with that out of the way, let me bring on my most favorite co-host, Noe. Here he is. Noe, how's it going?
It's good. I'm glad I made it to the most favorite ranking.
You are my most favorite.
We have so many to pick from.
Man, I haven't seen you for such a long time. What's happening?
Have you?
I mean, I saw you 5 minutes ago.
Okay. Well, I mean, well, weren't you also on vacation? I did a vacation last week.
Yeah, but we were on different vacations. So I was on an island in the north of Germany, and I didn't see you there. So
that's
I
the most
assumed you were
details you gave
somewhere
me.
else.
So I think I went to a different island.
Yeah, that's what I think. Which island did you go to?
No, I went to Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Yellowstone. It's one of the national parks. Do you know why they call it Yellowstone?
I haven't been there, but I hear great things. So next time I come, maybe we can go together.
Yeah, we'll take a little road trip. I saw like a bear, some moose.
Okay, elk. Wow, that sounds exciting. How far away were you from the bear?
So the bear was the closest. I got like maybe 10 feet away. It was a brown baby bear.
Oh, okay.
And it was not, the bear walked up to me. I didn't walk up to it. Yeah. But we were just hiking along.
No, it sounds a little bit more scary. 10 feet, that's not very far.
Yeah, and then like we had to climb over rocks. I dropped a camera lens that I was borrowing, so like I actually broke the lens.
Oh no, sounds like an expensive vacation.
Yeah, it turned out to be one. Yeah, but it was good. How's your island vacation in the north of Germany?
Yeah, it was really good. So we were on an island called Used, and it was absolutely fantastic weather. So we had sunshine. We were hanging around on the beach, doing bicycle rides. So yeah, it was a great time. Very relaxing. No bears, but we had a seagull. So the seagulls, man, I tell you, we only had a jar of marmalade on our balcony, and then next thing you know, this giant seagull lands on the balcony trying to peck on the marmalade. It's crazy. Well, all right. So we're not here to talk about vacation. We're here to talk about Firebase Studio, and we have a guest that knows everything about Firebase Studio. At least I hope. So here he is.
Hey,
Brody. Hey, how is it going?
Going good. Yeah, super excited to come and code with y'all, and I feel like this will be a really fun stream.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe we can start, and you can tell us what you do, what's your role, and maybe a fun fact about you that you're happy to share.
Yeah. So, yeah, my name is Rody. I am a DevRel on Firebase Studio. So helping people get access to our huge selection of templates, but also working across teams to make sure that everybody has a good experience there. And it's been interesting with the advent of vibe coding, where now the audience is changing too. You have people that have no experience with coding at all the way up to super experienced devs. And more recently, I feel like I've been seeing a lot of people come back into coding later in their career. And now you have people that, I used to do it like 15, 20 years ago, and I'm getting back into building. So yeah. And then a fun fact, I used to be an audio engineer before I was a software engineer. So
is that why your audio signal sounds so good?
yes, that's why I have a proper like mixing board to the left of me.
Nice. I feel, I need to spend some quality time with you so you can help me fix the audio on my stream.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. So usually we do a game of what is your favorite indentation method, but before we started the stream, we were talking about food or vacation. So how about we take a new question, and instead of doing tabs versus spaces, how about we do what is your favorite food, and why is it pasta? No, sorry. So what's your favorite food?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite ones is sushi, but if I had to pick a specific thing inside there, probably like takoyaki from Japan, like the little octopus balls they fry. Those are pretty good.
Nice. Noe, what about you?
I really like chicken Chesapeake.
What's the second part? Chesapeake?
Chesapeake. It's like a giant bay in North America. There's like crabs that come out of the bay.
Nice.
And we eat the crabs. So chicken Chesapeake is chicken, and it's like layered on top with like a crab dip or other crab meat items. It's pretty good.
Nice.
Is it a full-on like boil, like a normal seafood boil?
You're thinking of like a low country boil. That's something different. I assume you're thinking of a low country boil where you have like the giant thing you throw in like the crawfish and the corn and the potatoes.
Yeah. So you just cook the crabs and get them out.
Well, yeah. So you make like the crab dip first, or it's not really crab dip. It's like it's like a little bit of a crab cake blended with chicken on top. So you get like the very filling chicken, and then however much crab you picked off.
That's nice.
Or gotten from the jar, or your cousin that runs a crab shack, Yeah.
Nice. How about you, Peter?
So if you've watched our last most recent video, you might know that one of my favorite dishes is parmigiana. So, and usually you make it with aubergine, but my favorite is zucchini. So that would be my go-to. And anything that has tomato sauce in it, you can't go wrong with it. I think it just is perfect.
That's awesome.
So everybody on the stream, tell us what you think. What's your favorite dish? I already saw that people mentioned chimichurri and stuff. So feel free to let us know what you like. So let's talk about Firebase Studio. So one of the first questions that we should probably talk about is what is it, and how is it different from Firebase?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, and also people may be wondering like, well, how is this different than just VS Code in my computer too?
Yep.
So Firebase Studio is at its core a computing platform that we enable and unlock people to use in the browser. So we're built on top of NixOS, which is a VM that has a huge amount of packages in the Linux ecosystem. And because of that, we are able to support full server-side, client-side stacks all running together. You can run Kubernetes or full Docker containers all the way down to just like a simple Go server. Really, it's about as long as you can configure it in Nix, you can usually get the template running. So Firebase Studio, which was previously Project IDX, wraps up all of that into a nice feature suite. But then now part of Firebase, we are able to deeper integrate into creating Firebase services like projects and API keys for Firebase AI logic, and have deep relationships across Google to like try to make that development experience better. And then, of course, at Google Cloud Next, when we launched, we also supported this new kind of natural language prompting. And that is kind of a new way for us to get into the space of like helping people get past that blank canvas problem. So like, I have something I want to build, I'm not sure where to start, there's a lot of templates, might as well just throw it into the prompt to see what we can get. And one of the cool things about that is, even if you're like a really experienced dev and maybe mobile is like your wheelhouse, you know, we still offer this prototyper because you could use it for your marketing site. You could use it for the things that you don't want to build, but then like focus your development time on something else. And because we run on top of these VMs, unlike a lot of the other tools, like we have that experience wherever you go into any browser. And so I think that's been fun. One of the things I like to show off at the booth is running Firebase Studio on my Google Pixel Fold. So
yeah, how is the development experience on a small device like that?
It's interesting, especially if you have a keyboard and stuff like that. But I mean, I think it's just really awesome to be able to, oh, I just need to like get access to that. I just need to make this one change. And one of my favorite things that we can do in Firebase Studio is, you know, everybody likes to joke on Twitter and other places that like, oh, like here's my new startup, it's localhost, blah blah blah. And but like with Firebase Studio, we launched public ports, so you can actually share localhost on Twitter, which is fun.
Yeah, it's really good fun. And you know what I really like is that you have this feature where you can display a QR code and then show it on your phone, and that's pretty cool.
And it's connecting to your actual VM too.
Yeah, exactly. So why don't we take a look at how it works, and then we can look into some of the features, and maybe you can show us some of the stuff that you're particularly excited about, and then maybe we can take some audience questions as well, and maybe, I don't know, you have an idea what we can vibe code, or the audience wants to come up with something. So I will bring on your screen, and then we can take it from there.
Awesome. So when you are first brought into Firebase Studio, you won't have any projects yet. So this is going to be the screen that you have. It's very similar to any other the AI tools, but we offer a way to easily get started. One of the cool things that we launched recently is when you add a prompt, we can now suggest like an improvement to that prompt. So like it'll already start to kind of normalize the type of input that people are bringing, so which is pretty cool in itself. And then, of course, if you want, you can click on full dashboard and get access to our templates. We have a huge variety of templates. There's almost certainly a framework or a stack that you're using that we have here. We have both mobile, web, and front end. Mobile is especially really popular. Our AI templates. People actually really like our databases inside of Firebase Studio because, you know, notoriously Postgres and these other ones can be tricky to get installed. And so now you can have a running Postgres instance running in the browser that you can connect to by public port. So you can kind of, what I like to do is like create like really nice staging environments and then connect to them from other places. And then we also have this new What's New section that we launched just last week. And these are updates to these 5 templates that support our new agentive kind of AI layout. And it kind of makes, we've updated the base system instructions so you can have a more prototyper-esque type of experience where you can just like jump into the chat and say like, change this, do whatever.
Okay. All right, that's really interesting because that sounds a little bit like so we've got the prototyper that you showed in the beginning, where you have this box that you can use to, kickstart your application from zero, essentially. And what you just said sounds a little bit like you would be in the IDE part of the IDE, and then you'd have another window that you could use to continue prototyping in there. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we're also just starting with these, but the goal is to try to bring this to more that makes sense. And so if there's, if there's a popular framework and you're like, oh, I have to use Laravel for my, let's see, where is it? For my entire application, that's the only thing I use. Well, you could take what we're doing here and apply that to like your favorite template and already start to have this more kind of agentive experience.
Okay, that's cool. So what I think we should be doing, so when I was at Cloud Summit in London, I had 15 minutes to vibe code an application. And because I know that, it takes a while for the prototyper to do its work, I vibe coded 2 applications at the same time. One was a Flappy Bird clone, and the other one was an expense tracker. So it sounds like we might want to do the same. So I'm thinking one of the things that we should do is demonstrate how the initial prototyper works like, where you can put your prompt. And then I am super curious about the agentic experience in those templates here. So I want to see those 2 things. Can you make that work?
Sure. And what template do you prefer we start with? Because this will also be
I don't know. No, do you have any preference?
Let's go Flutter.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Let's do it. Oh, yeah. And then the other app should be a bird-themed app as well.
Let's see. And I will have you hide my screen in a second when I paste in an API key. So.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, no, this is pretty exciting. I've been really pumped for this new type of experience that we've launched. One, it kind of just like really highlights how flexible and powerful our templates are, because like, the prototyper is great if you're using Next.js and Tailwind and all the things that we've set up for you. But a lot of people have been asking, like, I wanted to use this, my favorite framework, Vue or Svelte, and it's always giving me Next.js. So this is like kind of like a step in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, this is the new template layout. As you can see, by default, the chat's on the right and the previews are on the left. And then, of course, you still have access to all the code here too. And we also launched this new feature recently called Auto Run, where it essentially, except for terminal commands, it will automatically add all the files without having to have you approve each one.
Nice.
Okay, let me go ahead and grab that API key real quick.
I think this might be where we want to turn off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll turn it off.
Just in case. I'm sure there's eager viewers that are ready to.
Oh, yeah. So I had one video where I had an API key visible for literally 2 frames. And then somebody posted a comment in the video that pointed exactly to that thing. So we had to swap it out. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, almost there. Sweet. Let me put this.
So while we wait for Rody to fetch the API key, can we see if he can like pat his head and rub his belly at the same time?
All right. Now we're good.
So what? Oh, we're all good. All right.
Okay. So one of the cool things when you enter into this auto run is obviously it's very destructive in terms of it's going to be just adding a bunch of files. So we will commit all of your changes to a local Git repo. So right here, you can see we generate a commit message and we do that. And so if like you do a whole session and you really hate it, you can always right click and restore. The other thing that you can do is built into the core code OSS. You can also use your timeline and restore there as well. So already kind of nice ways to get around that.
Nice.
Awesome. And let's see, another fun thing we could do too is we recently launched support for Firebase MCP. So we can also add that as well. I can go ahead and log in.
So that would enable you to, have the IDE remotely control your Firebase project and do things like create a project in the first place, or create new accounts, list what's in the database and stuff like that.
Yeah, go ahead and hide my screen one more time too.
Yep, sure.
Thanks. Just realized it showed the authorization code. Okay.
So a few questions came in on chat, and I'm trying to find them so that we can show them on the screen. But one of them was, are we planning to make it easy to integrate auth, database storage, and other Firebase services easily with Studio projects?
Yeah, that's a good question, and you can share my screen again. The goal is to make all the integrations as seamless as possible. I think you can already right now go to the Firebase console and set up like the authorized domains and some of the other redirects to get that working. One of the cool things about the Firebase MCP server, and you guys can fact check me if I'm wrong on this, but it can already do a lot of things like create Firebase projects and databases and configure a lot of the settings for you.
Cool.
And then, so one of the cool things is we have this MCP JSON file that is blank. We have a code lab where I'm just going to paste in the code snippet, and this enables the Firebase MCP server. And the way that you'll know it's running is if you go into your logs.
Hey, Rody, just to interrupt you, I think it's about time I say my catchphrase. And I know you can read the screen, but I cannot read the screen. Could you make it just a little bit bigger?
Yeah, you got it. Let's see.
Thank you. Yeah, it should be like uncomfortably large for you.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So when I went to the Gemini logs here in the output console, you'll see that it'll show all the tools that it has available. Sometimes it'll take a second, and then as you make changes to the MCP JSON, it'll also change what's available there too. Like for example, like Flutter and Dart has an MCP server that you can also use on the beta channel, I believe. And so you could have multiple MCPs here, and they'd all be available in chat.
I love the fact that it's 42 tools, but it also means we can't add any more tools.
That's right. Yeah, it's the meaning of life.
I did see one tool in there called like Consult Assistant. Have you tried that tool yet?
I have not.
It's like third line, maybe. Oh, no, second line. You literally just highlighted it. That way, the right.
Nice.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So any idea what we should prompt there to try to get it? We can also switch it to ask mode, by the way. This is so you can interact but not make changes.
Can you ask the Firebase Assistant, how do I add Flutter Fire to this app?
Okay, let's see if it'll come back. I'm also using Gemini 2.5 Pro here. Beginning Firebase setup, uses like it's thinking. Mapping out Firebase tasks.
And then while we wait for this to respond, somebody mentioned that they are designing a web app. And is it always going to be slow, or when they go live, will it be faster?
Slow as in building?
This is the text that I have, my friend.
It runs very slowly.
It might be debug mode that's slowing it down for the app.
Okay.
Let's see if we can. I'm not sure if it actually used the tool or not. Let's see if we can use the tool. It did give a correct set of instructions, though.
How do you know when a tool is run in ask mode?
It should prompt or show like a little thing that says like, using X tool. So it also might not work in ask mode. Let me try it again in agent. And you can always start a new chat, which is nice because you can actually have multiple histories of various chats going. So let's try it again. Yeah, it totally could have just not worked in ask mode. It's from Eternal Command, but yeah,
that's a little bit more straightforward, right?
Yeah, let's see. Just try one more before giving up.
Maybe like when should I use Firestore versus Firebase Data Connect? Maybe, whoa.
Yeah, I think the issue is it's trying to just use the raw model stuff. Let's see. There we go, clarifying. Okay, that's what you're supposed to see though. That's it actually talking to the tool. No active project was found, so that may need a set for that.
Can you ask the MCP server to give you the tool definition so that you can understand what the tool is good for?
Yeah. Let's see. There we go. Pretty cool.
Okay, so the Firebase AI, Firebase Assistant is basically Gemini and Firebase, right?
Yeah, is that the nice? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Right on.
All right, so what should we do with this application here? So it's a basic application, but can we add a feature?
Let's see if we can first switch to agent auto run. Let's build like a fun. Here we go. Let's do build a. This is always like one I like to try just because it's like it requires state, logic, and layout. And I usually like to do like build me a retro themed calculator because it usually, depending on the luck of the draw, it'll like have a nice segmented display with like the nice green. But
nice.
It'll be solar powered too.
Yeah. That would be awesome. It'd be cool if you could have like the effects of like motion on it too.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, let's just start with that. So I want to start with like a prompt that like someone might put into the normal prototyper that's just like asking for something, but not really specific on like the type of change. If you go into our IDX/AI rules, these are the new rules that we launched. And so like you can see that there's a lot of opinions in here, but that's the best part about rules is they are opinionated. You can go and change these and it will have your opinions baked into those rules. So
so they're in your project?
Yes. Yeah. So if you completely hate what we put together, please change it and then just restart the chat and you will have it use your favorite state management, your favorite routing framework, your database,
nice.
You name it.
Yeah, good stuff.
Could we have it like for every text string that it shows, put like prefix it with a like a Z?
I guess, yeah, you could. I mean, I think obviously the longer the rules, like the less it may pay attention to any specific rule. So yeah. So one of the first steps it's supposed to do is come up with a blueprint and a plan, but we'll see if it actually does that here.
Yeah. So there was actually a question from someone on the chat who said, "Quick question, Rody. I noticed the more messages and prompts sent in a chat directly affects the responsiveness of the model. Perhaps Firebase Studio can develop a way to clear workspace data."
So you can do /clear to remove all the chats in a session, and that's like a way to really speed it up already. And then there's some other like techniques we can do. Like if it's really slow, you can go to your workspace list and click restart, and that'll provision a new one for you as well.
Is there also a way to summarize the previous conversation and roll it out?
You can with Gemini CLI, which we have pre-installed now. You can just go to terminal and type Gemini and have all those features.
Okay.
Also, here's the blueprint that it generated, which is cool. Similar to the prototyper, like it describes the UI, the design features, and the structure. And let's do a restart to make sure. It did not set it up in the... Let me do a full restart.
Maybe it's on the plus button.
I think it needs to be fully reloaded. Let's see.
Yeah, hot reload is not... No, that did just come out to the web, right? Because I saw something.
For Flutter, it came out for Chrome, but not web server, which is what we use. So,
okay.
Yeah, there's plans
Can we
to
get to
support
the
it.
Android preview?
Yeah, it's also restarting.
Ah.
It just installed Google Fonts, so it's probably installing that package.
While we wait for hot reload, there was a question about the attachment button, and clicking on the attachment button. Ooh, look at that!
Yeah,
it allows you to upload images, but not.
Yeah, you can upload
files.
drawings, images, or even files from the workspace.
Sorry, it looks like it's the question was in the overview in like the base window. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you launch Studio, the prompting.
Oh, that one only supports images, I believe, or only. Yeah, only images.
So I think there's a feature request to support Markdown there.
Yep, I have also have that feature request out. So.
To input Markdown right in the initial prompt.
Yeah, I will say that we support, if you go to the Open in Firebase Studio docs for a button, it supports sending stuff to the prototyper, which I have not found a limit to the amount of text you can provide there. So I have submitted like full docs created with Gemini Deep Research to there, and it'll just like, you can add it as context inside of there.
Yeah. What I did find is that once you have the blueprint, you can say, let me edit the blueprint, and that's a Markdown file as well. And then you can do whatever you want. But yeah, it's obviously you'd want to also start out from a Markdown file.
I was just about to code like a normal person. So let me use AI to make this. Let me do it.
Like a savage.
Yeah. Move the debug banner. So as you can see, like it came with a pretty cool UI already, like with a nice like retro font and like already with some animations. And like that kind of shows you that like we just gave it a generated retro theme calculator, but it did the work of creating a plan. The nice thing about the blueprint is it really makes an elaborate expansion on top of your prompt, and then also like your intention. It's almost like a PRD. And then we generated all those files like at once. So, that was 1, 2, 3 files with a pubspec change. And this is something that's in the rules too, is instead of like updating the pubspec manually, it uses the CLI, which we prompted it to. So it always knows the correct way to do it. So like for our Angular template, when you add a new component, it uses the Angular CLI to generate the new components and routes. So I think doing it this way like lets the model do what it's best at, and then also what the tools are do what they're best at as well.
So one thing that I've noticed using Gemini CLI is that when I have like a really targeted fix, it tends to be really good at that. Whereas when I vibe code with Firebase Studio, sometimes I want to have like a targeted fix. I'm like, change this thing to do this, or like the math is like not exactly mathing correctly.
Yeah.
Is there a way to go, is there a way to figure out like where in my project, like this button is like the 9 button? Is this like a single button on a screen that's reused for like all the number buttons? Because all the operations are one shade, all the number buttons are another shade. Is there a way for me to figure that out by like prompting Gemini in Studio, or is there something maybe else going on?
So I think one of the ways, like that's what you would use the ask mode for. You could ask like, those type of questions, and then we've indexed all the files. And so like it would know which file is where, and then also like the context and state dynamically of what you've just added and updated. Is that similar to what you're asking?
Maybe. I was working on something recently where I knew that I wanted it to have a certain behavior, and rather than just like ask Gemini for like the entire app, I said, in this file, change this thing. Is there a way to figure out like from this which file that would be so that I could take a look myself? Do you know what I'm trying to ask?
I think so. I think you're asking like so I guess the way I would do that is if I know the file ahead of time, I usually tell Gemini directly in the chat, like update or read this file, describe this file to me, or what do I need to do to make this file better? Something like that. And then I'm having a conversation with that file. You can even, with the file from the workspace, you can even add it there too. If it's like a deeply nested one too.
What if I don't know the file?
So I would actually just start by asking, because like Gemini CLI is really good at this, but even in this mode too, we have like an index list of all the stuff in your workspace. So you can say like, I'm trying to find out where this is in the code base, and it could like search stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we've actually sent like the list of the files and the recent stuff and everything like that. Gemini CLI will actually like run like regex queries and other stuff too,
and figure out exactly. Ew, okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
So there's different goals and different trade-offs for sure. But yeah, I think sometimes you're like, this is a new code base, like I'm explorative, trying to figure out where everything is and how it's working. One of the things I've done usually is either with CLI or regular is just like try to generate markdown files of what it thinks the app architecture is, and like try to like have it like go through and scan and create state and kind of build it up. Or even like for these files, generate a series of tests and run them, because then that kind of like also like generates a contract of what it thinks that the correct output should be. And then, as I'm going to, I like to have it generate documentation comments in the code too. So it's kind of just like leaving it better as it goes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because also it's natural language text, so it's great for context when it loads in the file too.
Speaking of context, is there a limit to the number of tokens we can use in Firebase Studio?
So we're using Gemini 2.5 Pro here. We switched. So we have, Gemini supports up to 1 million. Obviously, it's less than that with the context that we send in. But I think, context is one thing, but like usable context is different, right? When you're working with code, I think, it's a lot different than just chatting with a PDF. And the more that you give it, the harder it is to like find the exact things that you're looking for and to have meaningful change output. I've noticed that like my best performance is when I'm even in CLI, I'm hitting like 75-80% context window. Like I feel like it's like the sweet spot for, I have a lot of context in there, but then I still have a lot of performance, because like the performance will go down the more you fill it. Even with caching, like it still takes a while to load it in. It still takes a while to like parse and run inference on that too. So it's just definitely a trade-off. But there are times when you want to like fill it up and like ask questions like that.
Cool. Peter looks like he's dying to ask a question.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you can ask it to generate documentation. So why don't we ask it to generate a diagram of this calculator for us?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Let's do in the blueprint MD, generate a diagram of the features and state. Let's see if we can do that. So we can see it reads, and then we'll make the changes and then also apply the edit out. we did switch to auto run here. Doing a nice mermaid diagram. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and. Hey.
All right.
Ooh.
Wow.
Can we preview the diagram somehow?
Preview.
I think you want Markdown preview, which might be an extension, or if you do Command Shift
wait.
P to open up the command palette.
Yeah. I think
Or that
we.
button. No.
I wonder if we render it in our. I don't know if the built-in code.
Can you go? So I see the button. So right next to the diamond icon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I
should
just
be.
did. Yeah, I don't think we render mermaid diagrams in here.
Ah, okay.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay, feature request.
yeah. I'm trying to figure out. I mean, I know GitHub will render it in other places, but yeah, I mean, at least it rendered the diagram, which is cool. Let's see. It has the list of operations, the different states, subgraph. Yeah, this is like a calculator state diagram. That's cool. Nice. Yeah. And then the other thing too, like let's we could take this further and be like, okay, great. Update the code you generated to have documentation comments and write some unit and widget tests and run the tests, checking for errors and fixing any issues. Okay. And then we'll do create plan and get started. Let's see if we can try this out. So this is like kind of a relatively complex question with like a series of compound things that I'm wanting it to do. So obviously want it to do chain of thought first, and then, all right, we'll go ahead and it looks like it's refactoring it. It's moving things around to a more layered architecture, which is cool. Oh, it looks like the calculator is responsive. Nice.
Well, you can't see the results at the top though, right?
Yeah. I mean, you know, if you don't show the answer, it could be correct. So TBD.
We just hope.
Yeah, remove this stuff. If you add the results but never look at it, is it correct? You know, is it a superposition of what you've added? So, all right. So it generated the tests. Let's go ahead and run them. It's probably going to fail on the default one. I think we've already removed it. We'll see. But one of the nice things about having Gemini run the commands here is it will return all the standard error and standard out, so it can fix screens and fix any issues. So yeah, it looks like there's some errors that are going to return.
So while this is running, we have a few more questions.
Sounds good.
It's hard to keep up with all of them. So why isn't Android native development not supported by Firebase Studio yet?
So we do support it. It's on pause right now, but we do have Android Studio Cloud where you can go onto the mobile one and launch an Android Studio workspace.
Nice. Chrome extensions. Can we use Studio to build those?
Yeah, I mean, you can. I think, no, you've explored this a little bit too. I think you can build the extension and download and pull out the bundle. I mean, I don't think you could run a debug version of the Chrome extension because, you know, it needs like the Chrome APIs and we're running it in iframe, but you can literally do whatever you're going to do inside of CodeOSS. So
cool. And then what's this going to cost me, Rody?
Yeah, so we have our pricing page, but everybody gets 3 free workspaces and then 1 free Flutter and React Native space. And then you can join the GDP program to get more workspaces.
GDP, gross domestic product program.
That is correct. No, Google Developer Program.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I get those mixed up all the time.
Yeah.
And then what about tagging or editing individual files? Why can't we?
You can just reference it by name. We have an index of the entire file list that you have. So you can, like, as you saw earlier, I just said update Blueprint MD, and it knew because of the ones in my file list. In Gemini CLI, you can tag it with an @ symbol, and we have Gemini CLI right here. So
you can also do that here, right? In the attachment button, if you go down there.
So yeah, you can attach it, but it would load it
format
as a
history.
context file, as opposed to like a file path,
okay.
So like it's less prescriptive on like, I want you to update this file. It's more like, here's a file as context to send.
So I think one of the advantages of being able to tag a file is that you can be sure that you're talking about the right file, specifically if you are in a project that has, a large folder structure, and you might have
what I do is
files with the same name, right?
I literally just go copy relative path, and I like paste it in and just like do it that way.
Yeah. Okay. So while that works, I think this sounds like a feature request. This is something that the team is looking into, or people should be going on user voice to request.
Yeah, or you can use Gemini CLI right now and tag those by name as well too. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I do something with the Gemini CLI, will it take the blueprint into consideration?
Yep, because it also has context of the same folder structure that you've launched. And so one of the things we've done is make sure that these rules files work for both. Like, we generated a Gemini MD for the same thing that we have for the AI rules. So it's going to have the same context there for this type of prototyping experience.
So the only difference would be that if I have a chat conversation going in the prototyping chat UI, and then I go into the CLI, it wouldn't have the chat context, right?
Yep. But as
except if I asked, can you please summarize this conversation for me, and then pipe it into the CLI?
Or like, write it to a markdown file. I think that's the blueprint. A good way to do that. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
If can we actually look at the tests that it wrote? Yeah,
actually, and it went through the tests, caught errors, and even fixed the other ones. So let's go in here.
So whenever I fail a test, I usually just delete the test and move on with my life.
Nice. It did delete the default widget test that was for the Hello World project that it generates the counter.
How to fail that one?
Because So what's cool is it generated a unit test like I asked it to. So that was the domain. And then it also generated a widget test, which was for the UI testing. So that's cool.
Okay.
Which I always forget the correct way to write widget tests. So it's always great that Gemini can write these as well.
I used to write a lot of test files. Like, how creative at doing like the wrong thing can it get with test files, do you think?
I think.
Oh, hold on. There's a division by 0 there, right? Towards the bottom.
Yeah. Let's see. Division by 0. Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
I've actually found with Gemini 2.5 Pro, the natural language to unit tests is actually pretty great. If you know one, it can just kind of generate whatever. But like, if you have like a very guided series of things you want to test, and what I usually do is I provided a couple like pseudocode examples, and then it will like stamp out and continue the pattern. I've had pretty good luck with that.
So, Rudy, I want to ask you about your intentions. Is it intentional that Firebase Studio don't handle the database provisioning like Firestore? In most docs, it's just a prompt, but one has to go to Firestore to provision it. Otherwise, it fails. Can you? What you know about that?
I believe doesn't the Firebase MCP server now support generating Firestore?
I believe you might be right.
It might be one of the new tools. So like, one of the whole things that the Firebase MCP that we're investing in is the fact that it can generate a lot of these things from the console that you would have had to do otherwise. So ideally, the Firebase MCP just gets like ultra powerful over time, and then we're just like able to integrate with that and then use that as like a connection point.
I was definitely paying attention, but for Peter who wasn't, does the Firebase MCP come already set up out of the box when you launch Studio?
It does not, but you can follow our code lab or any of the other docs on how to. It's just like literally a one line copy into this. Like you just paste in this one section, and then it installs the Firebase tools. The Firebase tools are pre-installed on the machine, but this just allows you to connect it. And you can also do .gemini/MCP if you want it in the Gemini CLI as well.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to do another change. Let's do make the calculator have a nice color gradient with animated borders. This is a more complex UI thing, but it might be cool to see what it comes back with. I have found the iteration to be really nice to be able to kind of try out different ideas, especially knowing that it's going to be inside of a Git repo. I can just like restore it anytime.
How do you go about restoring it if you are running something and you're like, oh gosh, like that?
Yeah.
Oh, right there.
So you can literally just go in here and like you can I believe it's check out or cherry pick. And you can also even do like revert changes, I believe. And yeah, if you have a stage one, you can always like discard all those as well. But like I said, VS Code also has this feature. I don't know why it's not showing out, but the timeline also will usually show changes as well.
Okay.
Let's do. But yeah, it's already like we're trying to bring the best of what people love about the prototyper into Firebase Studio. And I think this kind of makes it a nice way to start with whatever framework. I think we started with Web and React and Next.js and Angular and Flutter because those are like the most like visual ones that we had. But like, there's nothing stopping you from setting up the Go template or setting up, like I said, Vue or Svelte or something like that. So we actually encourage the community to try it out and share their own rules files and their own MCP server setups and stuff like that. Because I also like kind of played around with Astro and getting this working too, and like it's kind of cool to just like vibe code a content generated site. So yeah, it's fun.
So does that mean if I have any kind of workspace, so let's say I have a project that has been sitting around somewhere in GitHub and it uses some sort of technology stack that might not even be supported, can I import it into Firebase Studio and then use the prototyper to kind of like start working on my project again?
So you can follow the files here. You just have to, in VS Code settings, make sure that Agentive workspace is true. And make sure that you have a rules file there. You can copy it and customize it to whatever you like, whatever your project is specific. But then you just literally go into import repo. And as long as those files are there, and then dev.nix, you would definitely need that if you don't have one already. But as long
Peter's
as
looking for Vapor and Swift, if I had to guess.
Nice. Yeah, you could use server-side Swift here. Yeah, for sure. And you could run it.
Yeah, I was looking into that, and I hit a wall because I wanted to use the latest version of Swift 6, and apparently that is not supported on Nix. Somebody seems to be working on that.
Yeah, you can do unstable. You can, so if something isn't supported, you can also in the packages, like you can, there's like a way in Nix to actually just install the binary directly from like a GitHub release. And so you could like with that that SHA, you could literally like install the binary and do all the different kind of stuff. So like there's definitely escape patches for that. But yeah, I agree that sometimes if there's a version that's just like slightly too new or just whatever, it can be annoying. But like one of the whole core tenets of Nix is like all of the packages get updated together with the channel. So like everything's guaranteed to work. And so like all like 120,000 packages are like will compile because of the way that they do like their mono repo and stuff.
Interesting. Okay, but coming back to my original question, so I could, if I add those 3 lines to my pre-existing repository, I could somehow make that agentive enabled.
Yep, exactly.
Correct?
Yep.
Nice.
And it looks like it generated a nice animated calculator. I don't know if that's showing up. Yeah.
We should make the color change in response to the value.
Yeah, let's see. To the numbers?
Yeah.
In response to, the result. The higher the result, the hotter the number. The hotter the color.
Like more neon.
Like real life conditional formatting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those would be cool. Yeah, it's also just kind of fun to, like anybody, you could build this, in a period of time, but like while it was generating, we were having discussions about other stuff. It lets you focus on the things that like, you as a developer enjoy, which is like thinking about the abstract of the application. And also like at any point, you just can go into the code and do it a different way. Like there's many times where like Jim and I will take it a wrong direction. And I'm like, okay, let me give it a better stub to start from. And then from that stub, it will like, you will have a way more high quality result, because AI generation is kind of like image generation, where if you try to generate an image with 5 words, it's going to not be what you probably had in mind for what you're trying to generate. And so like, if you think about project and code generation the same way, like be very descriptive, or at least like, this is the things that I want you to do, avoid the things that I don't want you to do, but also just like kind of guiding it and growing it into the direction you're wanting as well.
Yeah, there was a question around, an aspect of vibe coding. You have the tool generate code, and then, even if you are a seasoned developer and you might be an expert in the framework that it's using, sometimes it's hard to spot mistakes in the code. So here, a user asked, if the AI makes a mistake in the code that's hard to spot, like a hidden bug or a security problem, how does the tool help me find and fix it, even if I don't notice right away?
So one of the things about, being a developer is you should view AI generated code as untrusted legacy code too, because it is code that you didn't write or code that is immediately stale. And what do you do with untrusted code? You write unit tests, you run fuzzing, you do pen testing. Like all these approaches still apply to vibe coding. So like that's why I had it generate a series of tests, like you said, Peter. It even tested for or no, like did vibe by 0. Like you want to cover all of your cases, and the more that you can generate unit tests and widget tests of being like, even if it's 3 more times tests than it is actual code, like, or even simulation testing or anything, like you want to get to a point where you're covering at least a sufficient amount of the code paths. And you can get closer by like, I've been different tools use like code coverage, and I've been like, okay, run code coverage, check which files still need coverage, try to write new unit tests, and like kind of go through a loop and have it try to check for all the branches, because usually you'll uncover different errors there. I think the less tests and the less like reviewing that you've done in a code base, the more likely it is to have like a subtle off by 1 error or like a subtle security issue. But we also have tools that will help you as well. Like we have Firebase App Check, which will make sure that the correct users are there. We have Firebase Auth, which will make sure that, your application is protected and locked down to only authorized users. You have ways to do Firebase security rules to make sure that only the correct data is done. So even outside of your application, you can still sandbox it to a certain degree. But yeah, at the end of the day, like you still need to write tests and have it generate the the types of things that you would do even if you were another developer on the team reviewing code from someone else that's working on a new feature.
Are you saying I can't just say, hey, there's a bug in here, go find it? Even if I don't know whether or not there's a bug in there? Like,
you can, but it
send
might
it in.
generate a new bug and while it fixes the old one. Like one of the things about programming is like, oftentimes a fix for one thing like will uncover two different things. And so I think,
and then you have like that load bearing bug that somebody like wrote into the application. Everybody's like, oh no, you just have to like save, close,
That's
and
right.
then you can like add a new layer in. Yeah.
It becomes a feature at that point.
Yeah. So adding on to my previous question, here is a user who said they have been using Firebase Studio successfully as someone with zero knowledge about coding, and they're struggling to get their app into the Google Play Store. So let's talk about that part of the question next. But first, coming back to what you said, Rody, which I totally agree with. You have to review the code. You have to treat it as something that you didn't write yourself. You need to test it. You need to know how to make it secure, right? So that requires lots of knowledge that for us is second nature, but for somebody who is completely new to coding, they might not even know that there are, security risks and how to deal with them. So what should people that come from a completely different field do in order to not get caught out?
So one of the things that I would suggest is if you're coming into this like with not a lot of experience, or maybe you did it a long time ago, or just changing industries or whatever, that's where our other Gemini tools are really useful. So Gemini Deep Research is a great way to get answers and more questions to the things that you don't even know to ask. So if you literally put in there, like, how do I get my app into the Google Play Store? What are the list of things I need to do? Like, it would do a full research page on exactly step-by-step on the ways you get your metadata done for the screenshots, ways to do your review, how to upload the Play Store step-by-step, like often tutorials, like, so like use tools like that to really help you get around the knowledge gaps, because like you'll be surprised at like how straightforward that is. Like Firebase Studio is just a development platform and IDE, right? So like we're just one part of the puzzle, but like, like I would definitely suggest like Gemini and Gemini Deep Research for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I remember we had this discussion when we were at Google I/O Connect in Berlin, and you told me about how you do research with the tool. And then I tried it out and asked it to research restaurants near where I live, and it was really great. So it came out with like this really nicely written article that almost was like something that you would read in a restaurant review magazine. And I was like, oh, you should totally check out this one here.
Exactly.
So,
and also fantastic. Notebook LM is great too. Yeah, you can basically take the research docs and then put them in a Notebook LM and ask more like directed questions there too.
Yeah,
I've been putting in like my financial statements into Notebook LM because I saw like a guide on this online. I was like, I'll just try it. And then like I was like, wow, you're really good at doing this thing, like paying your bills on time. And I was like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, I uploaded 62 PDFs for me and my wife for getting a house, and so like we had all of the disclosures that they gave us, and tools like this make it so easy to like scan and parse long documents of like structured text. As a human, it's like really hard to read that, in a quick manner. But yeah, use these tools for what they're good at, right? Because there's a lot of tutorials out there on how to publish your app on the App Store, but like usually they're like, there's a ton of information. It's spread across like Stack Overflow and Stack Exchange and Reddit and search. But like Gemini Deep Research basically takes all that and normalizes it into one place and like has a series of steps that are often going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
If you ever need like an ego boost, like you just wake up one day and you're like, man, I'm not feeling it. Put your resume into Notebook LM and have it generate a podcast. And I'll be like,
oh yeah,
this guy.
Fantastic.
Well, I thought you were gonna say have it roast you.
That actually might be fun too. Can you guide it like that and be like, roast this guy?
I'm sure you can. There is a system prompt setting for it. So
Nice.
Maybe looking this up.
All right. So I know that lots of people asked about how they can get their feature requests to the team. So I wanted to show this here, which is the user voice that the Firebase team is using. So this is a site that's public. You can go to and you can search for anything. And I did a quick search for Studio, and you can see that there's already a couple of people who asked about Flutter and Android Studio in Firebase Studio, and you can submit your own feature requests. But chances are that there already are people who are interested in the same thing, so you can sign in and upload the thing, and then eventually, we'll have the resources and time to work on these, and you can go through all of these, and you'll see that there are a bunch of those feature requests that are actually implemented in the products.
Yeah.
So that is one way to reach out to the team. Rody, is there any other way how people could get in touch with the Firestore team and say, hey, I have this really fantastic idea. Here it is. Here's the prototype or whatever. How can you do that?
Yeah, for the Studio team, I think the best place would be the forum is great. So we also have a forum. We check Reddit, we check Twitter and LinkedIn. The best place would be to have an official place like on the forum or tools like that, because that's where we can easily close out things when they're resolved, point people to the correct resources. And then we also have like the Firebase community that we're also a part of as well. Yeah, if you have any issues, like we're happy to answer them and help them. One of the interesting things about Firebase Studio is people will come with Firebase issues or Gemini issues or app issues, and like it's literally infinite the amount of things that could be. So yeah, but we'll easily be able to direct you to the right people.
Yeah. And we'll put links to all those resources in the video description so people can find it after this live stream ends. Noe, did we cover most questions on the live stream?
I think so. There was a question about Data Connect that I saw come through. Maybe we should do another Data Connect live stream eventually.
Yeah. We should do one where we have people from all those teams and then make them work together and implement an application.
Peter, we should do it like the holiday special that we planned last year.
Yeah, I know. And maybe we could reuse that really funny skit that we did.
Yeah. Brody, were you in on the holiday special that we talked about?
I know what you're talking about, but I wasn't in on
Okay,
it.
Great. Yeah. Okay. That would be fun to do on a live stream.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then, because it's a live stream, right? Just saying. All right, Rody, we're almost at time. Is there anything that we didn't discuss that you are dying to tell people about?
I think the biggest thing would be just come try it out. If you haven't used Firebase Studio recently, it's probably changed in the last week. So like we're always working on shipping updates and making it better and rapidly improving it. And even down to the day, if you're having issues with Gemini, the issue might get resolved the next day. And so if anybody's having issues opening workspaces, definitely let us know on the forums and we'll see if we can get that resolved pretty quickly. But I'll just say also, I really like using Gemini CLI inside Firebase Studio. It is super underrated how powerful it is to have a full VM that you can just ask and iterate on questions, and even running Gemini CLI alongside the regular Gemini chat and having it update our previews. It's kind of a magical experience. We're going to have them all running tasks in different threads. So it's a fun time.
Is there a place where people can go and see the release notes?
Yeah, I think that we have the main Firebase release notes. We probably most often put it on the blog and then share it on social channels and things like that. We're usually pretty good about making little short snippets.
Yeah, I was thinking about Firebase Studio. Is there a place where I can go and say, okay, so what has changed in the last week?
Yeah, we have like a general roadmap and some other things that have shown, but I'm not aware of anything other than just us updating our docs and releasing social posts. So.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, we'll post all the links in the description.
Awesome.
And I think with that, it is time to say thank you, Rody. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for showing us some of the cool new features and taking questions from Noe and me and the audience.
Thanks for having me.
We'll bring you back, for the grand thing that we'll roast the entire team.
Nice.
All right.
That's great. Yeah.
Cool. No, do you have any final words before I click the button to send everybody back home?
No, click the button, Peter.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And go try it out. Let us know what you think. And we'll post all the links so you can send your feedback. Thanks, and see you in the next one.
All right. Bye.